One of my personal favorite Glashutte original designs is the 70s model. It has a TV-shaped square case with slightly rounded corners. The dial is large, prominent, and legible, and it has one of the greatest bracelets on the market. If you opt for that route, it's heavy, it's well finished, it has a sport clasp with a hidden micro adjustment system. It's just phenomenal if you enjoy bracelet models. The movement is gorgeous. It has great complications. This is a flyback chronograph with an hours disc as opposed to a traditional hours counter. So only two registers are visually prominent in the design. There's also a panorama or a grand date, and then a power reserve indicator that is integrated in one of those two counters. So a very visually balanced, funky, large, interesting design from a German brand. Now, a huge thank you to Exquisite Timepieces for lending this watch in for me to film. Exquisite is a family-owned AD that carries over 60 brands. They have everything from Seiko Sports to Parmigiani Fleurier. If you are interested in any Glashutte original model, they do have a big selection. Reach out to my guy Mauricio for any questions or any quotes. Now, let's talk about this watch. What makes it compelling in my eyes? Well, this is an integrated style watch that feels nothing like the common integrated sport watches that we see from the likes of Patek Philippe, Audemars Piguet, IWC, Girard-Perregaux, and others. So it has that great style that I enjoy personally, but it doesn't feel like another iteration of a Royal Oak or a Nautilus, and I think that's strong. Now, Glashutte Original is also a power brand in terms of the level of finish, the detail work, the movement execution, when you compare it to retail prices, and then you compare those prices to what you can get from other brands at that same segment. This is also a true made in Germany product with just impeccable overall quality that you notice when you have one of these watches in hand. Now, as a bonus, it is also not what you would call a hype brand, meaning if you like understated pieces that fly under the radar at the luxury price segment, and I do know a lot of people who enjoy that, that type of feel in a watch, this is a brand that you should check out. Now, Glashutte Original also has some very elegant models in their product catalog, but this one is different. It's not what I would consider elegant. It's more funky design-wise. It's large, it's colorful, it's heavy, it's bold, and I'm not, ashamed to admit, but I enjoy so many watch designs from the 1970s that are just colorful and loud and funky and bold. And this modern Geo 70s, it feels like it would be at home in that era. I think it fits right in. But I do recognize that you might not have the same, enthusiasm that I do for this design. And if that's the case, I'd encourage you to check out some of the more traditional and less dated looking products from Glashutte Original. I do think that the brand is impressive. Now, one of my all-time favorite watches is the 70s Pano Date with the anthracite dial on the bracelet, but unfortunately Glashutte Original discontinued that before I bought one, so it's one of my own watch regrets not having got one before they became hard to find, because they really don't pop up for sale that often. And if perchance you have one and you wouldn't mind selling me this watch, send me an email. It's one that I've always had on my short list and one that I definitely want to own one day. Now let's talk about this specific one. This is the flyback chronograph, and I'd like to geek out a little bit about the movement. Geo calls this the 3702 caliber. It is an in-house designed, in-house produced movement. Much of it is hand finished, and it has what is referred to as a Glashutte 3/4 main plate with a vertical stripe finish. Naturally, it's a column wheel flyback, so in addition to being visually beautiful, it's impressive from a technical standpoint. Note the black polished swan neck regulator, the mix of black polished and thermally blued screws found throughout. The rotor is skeletonized and has the double G brand symbol done in gold tone. That double G symbol is also found on the dial side as the counterbalance weight for the chronograph seconds hand. But going back to the rotor, this rotor, it has a big weight affixed to the edge, which is actually 21 karat gold that I think is finished very nicely. So there is a little bit of precious metal on this steel piece. Now, again, this movement, it's absolutely beautiful. It's technically impressive. And I think it is a must that it is visible behind a display case back. I don't think that you would feel that you were getting the same value, that same high-end value, if you couldn't see this, if this had a closed case back. So I think every GO needs to have a display case back. It really adds to the user experience. Now, rounding out the final features of the watch, this has 100 meters of water resistance and it's under 15 millimeters in total height, which isn't bad considering the water resistance and all of the different complications with this automatic chronograph. This watch will also have solid lume, which is Superluminova C1, so it's white in natural light and glows green in low light conditions. This also has a nice calfskin leather strap with a steel deployant clasp, a fume green dial, again, very funky, very bold, very cool, and then anti-reflective treatment on the underside of the sapphire crystal. So it's no secret here, I enjoy this watch. One of my favorite watches is the three-hand version of this design, and I think the 70s is perfect for somebody who likes underrated brands or off the beaten path type of models, someone who wants quality, but they don't necessarily want the watch garnering attention, maybe someone who isn't new to spending 5 figures on a chronograph, someone who has probably already gone down the predictable Rolex route and has gotten maybe bored of those usual suspects. I also think that the 70s is good for those that have aging eyes. I found the large dial very legible, very prominent, and then the big center date display, the panorama date, is easy to read at a glance. So let me know if you have any questions. Please check out Exquisite Timepieces. They are an awesome brick and mortar AD in Naples, Florida, and they do have a big selection of Glashutte original. I'll link them below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time.